Morning. Welcome to SEC Plus. Gary Laney of Advance Digital here with Ron Higgins of AL.com. We're excusing the Alabama guys today. They have a conference going on in Alabama, so it's just going to be Ron and I carrying the weight today. And we're going to talk a little bit about development as spring practices wind down in the SEC. They're not all done yet, but most of them are. And Ron, what kind of grabs you as the springs wind down? I know one team you've been looking at is Ole Miss, which a lot of our viewers / listeners might not think of as being a particularly deep program. They're usually top heavy when they're good, but maybe not so much this year.
Ole Miss has always been a program really that their winning seasons depend on depth. If people got hurt, probably weren't going to win. If they stayed healthy, probably going to hold together. But because of Hugh Freeze in his recruiting the last 2 to 3 years, they've steadily built depth, especially at skill positions. And coming out of the spring, when you look at their running backs, I mean, they have 3 running backs who are as good as anybody in the SEC. And Octavius Mathers, who ran for 121 yards in the spring game. And then Mark Dotson, who's a sophomore, had a fine year last year. But somebody who really jumped out after being redshirted last year as a freshman was Jordan Wilkins, 6'1", 209 from Memphis. And he really had an outstanding spring. So suddenly they have depth at running back, and their receiving corps has depth. They got like 4 receivers who are 6'3" or taller, of course, led by Ron Treadwell, who is just had an outstanding freshman year. So Ole Miss in their depth, you got to watch them.
Yeah, you talk about Treadwell and the size of wide receiver Ole Miss has. Last year, Missouri had that size 3. They look like a bunch of small forwards out there playing wide receiver. And now with Dorial Green-Beckham dismissed from their team, I mean, they don't have any of those guys anymore. And how much does the dismissal of Green-Beckham, who a lot of people think was the best wide receiver coming back in the SEC, how much does his dismissal sort of change your perception of Missouri? Does one wide receiver make that big of a difference?
Well, I mean, I'll make a difference to me, but it might make a difference to Matty Mock, who becomes a starter this year. And that was his go-to veteran guy. So now they're going to have to find somebody else. And, yeah, I mean, it could be a little bit shaky, but that's what these involuntarily summer workouts are for, is to work out the kinks and timing with new receivers. And now Matty Mock has to find another go-to guy. So I think by the fall, I think they'll be okay. But right now it does look shaky.
Well, speaking of becoming a starter or quarterback, it looks like the skids are being greased for true freshman Kyle Allen to replace Johnny Manziel at Texas A&M with Jokel announcing his transfer, and Ken Hill, the son of the former major league pitcher, kind of getting in some off-field trouble. I mean, what do you make of the quarterback situation at Texas A&M?
I don't think any Aggie fans should have anything to worry about. We have to remember, nobody really even heard of Manziel until he started playing and starting as Aggie's quarterback. 4 weeks before the season, 2 years ago, they didn't have a starting quarterback, and Manziel suddenly emerged. So I don't think this is a panic situation. At least they have some guys identified, but a couple of years ago they really didn't. So that's why you expect unexpected. We never even had Manziel on the radar as a Heisman candidate. He ended up winning it, and now he's a first-round draft choice in a few weeks.
Yeah, and he wasn't somebody who was coming out of that spring of his redshirt freshman year, causing a lot of conversation. And it seems like spring for a lot of these teams is, they go to gimmicks to get attention and have a lot of fun. I mean, it seems like we've maybe hit a peak with that. Talk a little bit about the fun these teams are having in the spring.
Well, Steve Spurrier, who always likes to have fun, the spring doesn't take it that serious. I mean, last year he threw a gimmick play, he threw a touchdown pass to the Clowney, who came off the sideline to catch it. This year, Dylan Thompson threw a 30-yard touchdown pass to Dawn Staley, the South Carolina women's basketball coach. She came off to catch a touchdown. At Mississippi State, Damian Williams threw a 60-yard touchdown pass to former Bulldogs running back Anthony Dixon on the NFL, who just happened to be in the stadium and came off the sideline, catch a touchdown pass. At Tennessee, former Vol Arian Foster, now a really great NFL running back, was on the sideline, act like a DJ scratching records between plays. So you can see the SEC teams starting to do a little more in their spring games and market it a little bit more, have more of a fun atmosphere, not take it so serious. Because most of the serious stuff really in the SEC is spring, is done in practice. And they don't show that much in games, so why not market to fans and have fun?
Yeah, because we all know that if the SEC needs anything, it needs a little attention, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Let's do some stuff to draw more attention to it.
Yeah, and here we are talking about it in April. We're a good example of it. But there you are, a lot of developments. We'll talk a little bit about spring more next week as the rest of them wrap down, see the winners and losers of the spring. Until then, for Ron, I'm Gary Laney, and I'll see you guys on Thursday when we'll talk a little bit of recruiting. Until then, see you next time.